Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be taking a look at this motor. And now this is the Brother Hobby R3, the Returner R3, the 2207 2550 kV. Comes in this nice little box, just like other Brother Hobby motors. No packaging or anything in there, no foam, just a real simple, small, paper box here. Nothing too fancy. That's good. It keeps the price down. And all you get with it is one lock nut and a one set of 6mm screws. It would be nice if they did include a second lock nut for the top to keep your props on, as well as a set of 8mm screws if you're using thicker arms or if you are soft mounting. So, that's not the best. And like I said, this is the R3 edition of the motor. The R5 motor is a 2306. I believe it's a 2450 kV motor. So this one is a 2207 and 2550 kV. So a little bit smaller stator, a little taller but smaller stator. And then the other one's wider with a lower kV. So I think this is sort of their top-of-the-line racing motor, and the other one is for freestyle mainly. Now I do also have a set of the Hyperlite 2207, 25, 22 kV. However, if you take a look at the windings, because less windings equals a higher kV, the windings themselves, comparing the two motors, are 100% identical, because these motors, almost all Hyperlite motors from Pyroflip RC, are made by Brother Hobby. That's why they have such good build quality. So I'm pretty sure they're the same motor, except for slight variations in the bottom design. But just real quick on that, Brother Hobby motors, I'm a huge fan of Brother Hobby. The motors they produce are just such high quality and such powerful motors. I definitely do recommend buying from them. I bought so many motors from Brother Hobby, or ones that they make OEM for, such as the Hyperlite edition of motors. They're just a really good, fantastic overall quality motor. Now this one uses the same bell style as the other Returner series or the Hyperlite motors. However, as you can see, it does have the naked bottom. However, unlike the Pyroflip or the Hyperlite motors, you can see it does have sort of the closed section up at the front here by the wires, and that holds them down. I'm actually not a fan of this. One, because it doesn't really do anything, and two, that forces the motor wires to come down and out, but you can see the arm's going to mount right here, so that makes them squish up when you tighten it down. It's going to almost like pinch those wires there. So I'm not really sure why they did that. It's kind of worthless, because if you look on the Hyperlite ones, there's nothing there, and they can just come out nicely without being stressed at all. So I think having it completely bare like that is better. Now, people do worry about the naked bottom design having less durability and whatsoever, but honestly, that doesn't really add any durability at all. And if mud and stuff does get in there, at least this way, it's going to be a lot easier to clean it out than if it had a closed bottom. Also, just like with other Brother Hobby motors, it has tons of nice long silicone 20-gauge wire, so it will very, very easily fit to all 4-in-1 ESCs, 5-inch, 6-inch, anything like that. Not short wires that you have to extend, so that's very nice. If we compare it to this motor here, this is the Race Day Quads. This is their 2205 2450 kV. This is the exact same motor once again as the Hyperlite V2 motor. Exact same motor, just by a different brand. Once again, Brother Hobby makes them, does OEM for the companies. If we compare it to, get the wires around, compared to the R3 2207 motor, it's the exact same motor here. Exact same bell. This is a little bit older style, so it has the full bottom. But it's the exact same motor, it just has the 2mm taller stator, which you can see on the black middle sections. There's that extra 2mm that gives you the extra performance. So let's just do a quick weight for this motor. And I believe they advertise like 30.5 or something. And now this is with the full length of wires, so we have 32.2. And if we just quick, for reference, weigh this 2205, try and get the motor wires up here, that's 26.7, so it's about 2 grams heavier than what they advertise because of the wires. So this 2207 motor without the wires cut down, it'd be about 30.5 grams if we subtract 2 there, which is a very respectable weight for a 2207 class motor, considering the Cobra 2207s, I believe they come out at about like 37 grams or something, so this is definitely nice. Shave like 10 grams at least off your total build, as well as weight from the end of your arms to get better performance. once again, following up with build quality, you can just, hopefully you can see from the windings and the magnets here, everything is just super tight tolerances, very good quality. You can see they did opt for a C clip, or actually I think that's an E clip on the bottom there, which is kind of disappointing. I do like these screws. It definitely helps with maintenance. However, a C clip is a little more stable, doesn't require any Loctite or anything. And if you look at the magnets, they are pretty large and thick, and the air gap, let's try and see if I can find it in the camera. The air gap of the motor, no, maybe, I can't even really get it to show up on motor. The air gap is very tiny here on this motor, and the windings are very nice, and I believe these are N52 SH magnets, so the high temp, and they are curved. Just really nice motor construction overall. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the shaft is solid titanium, because obviously it's not hollow steel, and it's definitely not aluminum, but the other aluminum on the bell here is 7075 aluminum. Once again, very high quality. Alright, so that was enough about the motor on the bench. I won't be doing any thrust tests here, so let's get it installed into a quad, and then I'll come back with some results. Alright, so here we have the Brother Hobby Returner R3 2207 2550 kV installed on a quad, and now this is one of my Hyperfloss builds from Pyroflip RC. Just running down the components real quick, we've got the GemFan 5152 Flash Tri-Blade propeller. Not the best for this setup in my opinion, but more on that in a little bit. I got the SpeedX IS30 amp 4-in-1 ESC. We got an XSR Free Sky underneath there. We have a Hyperlight F4 play controller, TBS Unify, Emacs Pagoda, RunCam Micro, and a Tattoo R-Line 1395C. So let's just plug it in and get it up in the air. And now one of the main reasons I'm using these GemFan props for this test, even though they're not my favorite to fly, it's just so much power. It's almost uncontrollable FPV, but for line of sight it just really is good, and the top speed on this is actually insane. So just let's get it up here. So this quad is 270 grams dry with the props. That's full throttle punches there. So you can see, very peppy. Switch to my acro rates. Get used to it quick. And you can just hear, hopefully it's coming up on camera, but you can just hear the power these motors have. They just sound beautiful. And they're actually pretty quiet on these GemFan props. So let's do a full speed pass here. Oh, it's like at least 120 miles an hour. I can't even keep it down line of sight. Easily, by far my fastest quad. 1 minute. It's ridiculous. I wish I had a radar gun. So the top end on these motors with these props is for sure there. Absolutely amazing top end. The motors just have a ton of power all throughout the whole band to them, but they just really kick in the top end with that higher KV on them, and these propellers. Running a setup like this, doing full speed, you really are going to be murdering your battery though, which is another reason why I don't run the flash all the time. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh, it's so fast. Alright, I'm done. I'm using this battery for now. You get the gist. Oh man, that's powerful. So let's move to some FPV and we'll finish up my thoughts on these guys. Wow, that battery is smoking. Alright, so let's just finish up on these Brother Hobby Returner R3 2207 2522 kV motors. I've been flying them for about a week now. Just put 10 batteries through on this little course here, which you'll see some FPV DVR now. And when I first started flying these motors, I wasn't actually that big of a fan of them because it was just almost impossible to control. The power was just so crazy. But at the time I was flying them on GemFan 51, 52, which are very high-speed props. And with these, it was just a nuts combo, like 125 miles an hour on this floss here. So I did change to these DAL T5040 V2, sort of like the HQ style prop with the flat tips here. That gives it less power overall, but still compared to a 2205 setup with Cyclone V2 that I run, it still has way more power, and I was just smashing lap times with this thing. I just felt so much better on these props, so that's definitely my go-to prop for this guy. Unless you're going for specific high-speed runs, you know, if you're trying to get a high speed, then go with the GemFan 5152 tri-blade. And once again, they are super high quality motors, being Brother Hobby. I've been crashing these. I've crashed them I don't even know how many times so far, and probably can't hear it, but the bearings on there, they sound just like new. I've had problems with a lot of other motors, especially these 2205s. They still fly perfectly fine, but the bearings, they just don't sound quite as nice after a few crashes. But these ones, I think the shaft is a little bit wider, so it has a larger bearing. I'm not 100% sure, but the bearings have been holding up perfectly fine for me. In terms of current, they definitely, of course, do draw much more than a 2205 or 2206 motor. However, when you pair them with a light prop like this Dow T5040 V2, I was still able to get 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes flight time of racing on a 1300 battery, and I ran 10 of them through, so every time I was getting at least 2 minutes, most of the time 3 minutes flight times. So if you put a light prop like this on it, they will be alright enough to race, and this will be my racing setup from now on. Just really like this guy. So that was the end of the video. Stay tuned for more. Please subscribe. There will be links down to the motors from FPV model down below. They're about $21, $22 each, so they're not that bad. See you in the next one. Bye.